Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Yashoda Nanda Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Kiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Kiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगन्नाथ बलेश्वर माई की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंच तत्वों की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री गुरुपाद की जय गुरुदेव की जय नेता गौर प्रेम हरि बोल ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes of the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna, Prabhupada Mataji. So today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 16th chapter. The verse number will be 22. Okay, I'll just share the screen. Okay. So this is a wonderful verse. You can take some lessons from this verse. Dharmasya te bhagavatas triyugatribhisvaihi padbhishcharacharamidam dvijadevatartham nonam bhritam tadabhigati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuvadirasya dharmasya te bhagavatas triyugatribhisvaihi padbhishcharacharamidam dvijadevatartham nonam bhritam tadabhigati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuvanirasya dharmasya te bhagavatas triyugatribhisvaihi padbhishcharacharamidam dvijadevatartham nonam bhritam tadabhigati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuvanirasya. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to recite?
Hare Krishna, may I?
Yes, Balaji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Dharmasya te bhagavatas triyuga tribhisvaihi padbhishcharacharam idam dvije devatartam nonam pradam tat abhigati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuvanirasya.
Yeah, very nice, Balaji. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Matajis want to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
नूनं वृतं तद् अभिगातिरजस्तमश्च सत्त्वेन वरदया तनु.
Yes, Sunita Mata, you want to recite? Please go ahead.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Please.
Dharmasya te bhagavatas triyugatribhi swahi padpischaracharamidam dvijadevatartham nunam vritam tadabhigati rajastamascha satvena no varudaya tanuvanirasya. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
very good. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go to the synonyms now. Dharmasya, of the personification of all religion. Te, of you. Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Triyuga, you who are manifest in all three millenniums. Tribihi, by three. Swaihi, your own. Padbihi, feet. Characharam, animate and inanimate. Idam, this universe. Dvija, the twice born. Devata, the demigods. Artham, for the sake of. Nunam, however. Britam, protected. Tat, those feet. Abhighati, destroying. Rajaha, the mode of passion. Tamaha, the mode of ignorance. Cha, and. Satvena, of pure goodness. Naha, unto us. Varadaya, bestowing of all blessings. Tanuva, by your transcendental form. Nirasya, driving away. Translation and purport based divine Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation. O Lord, you are the personification of all religion. Therefore, you manifest yourself in three millenniums. And thus, you protect this universe, which consists of animate and inanimate beings. By your grace, which is of pure goodness and is the bestower of all blessings, kindly drive away the elements of Rajas and Tamas for the sake of demigods and the twice born. Purport, wonderful purport. Please listen very carefully. The Lord is addressed in this verse as Three Yuga, or one who appears in three millenniums, namely the Satya, Dwapara, and Treta Yugas. He is not mentioned as appearing in the fourth millennium or Kali Yuga. It is described in Vedic literature that in Kali Yuga he comes as Channavatara, or an incarnation, but he does not appear as manifest incarnation. In the other yugas, however, the Lord is a manifest incarnation, and therefore is addressed as Three Yuga, or the Lord who appears in three yugas. Sridhara Swami describes three yugas as follows. Yuga means couple, and three means three. The Lord is manifested as three couples by his six opulences, or three couples of opulences. In that way, he can be addressed as Three Yuga. The Lord is the personality of religious principles. In 3 millenniums, religious principles are protected by the three kinds of spiritual culture, namely austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. The Lord is called Three Yuga in that way also. In the age of Kali, these three requisites to spiritual culture are almost absent. But the Lord is so kind that in spite of Kali Yugas being devoid of these three spiritual qualities, he comes and protects the people of this age in his covered incarnation as Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is called covered because although he is Krishna himself, he presents himself as a devotee of Krishna, not directly Krishna. The devotees pray to Lord Chaitanya, therefore, to eliminate their stock of passion and ignorance, the most conspicuous assets of this yuga. See, in the Krishna conscious movement, one cleanses himself from the modes of passion and ignorance by chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as introduced by Lord Chaitanya. The four Kumaras were cognizant of their situation in the modes of passion and ignorance because, although in Vaikuntha, they wanted to curse devotees of the Lord. Since they were conscious of their own weakness, they prayed to the Lord to remove their still existing passion and ignorance. The three transcendental qualifications, cleanliness, austerity, and mercy, are the qualifications of the twice born and the demigods. So those who are not situated in the quality of goodness cannot accept these three principles of spiritual culture. For the Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, there are three sinful activities which are prohibited: illicit sex, intoxication, and eating anything other than prasada, that is food offered to Krishna. So these three prohibitions are based on the principles of austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. Devotees are merciful because they spare the poor animals, and they are clean because they are free of contamination from unwanted foodstuff and unwanted habits. Austerity is represented by restricted sex life. So these principles, indicated by the prayers of the four Kumaras, should be followed by the devotees who are engaged in Krishna consciousness. Jai. Srila Prabhupada's transcendental purport ki jai. Om Jnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vikamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yonta Pravishya Mamabacham Imam Prasuktam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharasvadhamnam Anyam Chahasta Charana Shravanapagadin Prana Namo Bhagavate Rushaya Tubhyam Namo Vishnu 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 Krishnam Namo Vishnu Samstani Namo Vishnu 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 Krishnam Bhakti Vilasam Visheshwara Pastor Krishna Jesus Krishna. So Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mataji, thank you for joining and keeping in the appointment with Krishna. So today we will be discussing from 3rd canto, 16th chapter, 22nd verse. Very wonderful verse. And this chapter itself is so beautiful. So a lot of things we can imbibe in our daily lives and put it into practice. See, in this purport, the beginning, he says, no, Prabhupada says, the Lord is addressed in this verse as Three Yuga, or one who appears in 3 millenniums. That is Satyuga, Dwapara, and Treta Yugas. And he is not mentioned as appearing the 4th millennium or Kali Yuga, right? So in the Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 5th chapter, 27th verse in the purport, Prabhupada says, the Supreme Lord is described as Tri Yuga because although he appeared variously in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, when he appeared in Kali Yuga, he never declared himself as the Supreme Personality of God. That is Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. That is, Lord appears in Kali Yuga as a devotee. So although he is Krishna, he chants Hare Krishna mantra like a devotee. And still, see, Bhagavatam 11.5.32, it recommends Yagai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti hi Sumedasaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose complexion is not black like that of Krishna, but is golden, Tusha Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is accompanied by associates like Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhara, and Srivasa. So those who are sufficiently intelligent, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by performing Sankirtana Yajna. So in this incarnation, Supreme Lord declares himself not to be the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is known as Tri Yuga. See, this material world, there are 3 different seasons, right? They come and go. Now, just like winter season, spring season, summer season, rainy season, they come and go. Now, similarly, these yugas by rotation, just like day and night. So now it is night. Again, the day will come. So day and night is there. It comes by rotation. So similarly, these yugas, Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. So different yugas, just like day means light and night means darkness, right? So similarly, Satyuga means people are all very advanced in spiritual life. Treta Yuga means 1/4 sinful, 3/4 pious. Dwapar Yuga means half and half. Half sinful, half pious. And Kali Yuga means 1/4 pious and 3/4 sinful. So in this way, when Kali Yuga will be finished, again Satyuga will come. So this is the rotation. But this is not a very important thing. See, this is material changes, right? They come and go. But if we take to Krishna consciousness, then you are above all these things. Because as soon as you become spiritually elevated, these material changes will not affect you. Just like Kali Yuga means what? 3/4 sinful life. So one who has taken to Krishna consciousness becomes devotee, he has no sinful life. Although he is in the Kali Yuga, he is not affected. Just like there is police, right? But if you are not a criminal, the police has nothing to do with you. And if you are a criminal, you may be on the street or in your apartment, the police will be after you and arrest you. So if you become pure, there is no influence of this yuga. But if you are impure, it doesn't matter that you go to the forest or in your posh apartment, wherever you are, the nature will not excuse you. So what you have to ask questions, right? Like in 4.34, Tadvidi Pranipatena, Pariprashnena Sevya, right? It's recommended in the Shastra that by service, by surrender, by question, humble, try to understand this transcendental subject matter. Srila Swami in Chaitanya Charitamrita 6.95 purport, the Prabhupada says, Srila Swami has also verified that Lord Vishnu appears in this age of Kali but does not act as he does in other ages. Lord Vishnu incarnates for 2 purposes, right? Paritranaya sadhuna, vinashaya cha, dushkrita. That is, he comes to engage in pastimes with his devotees and to annihilate the demons. See, these purposes are visible in the Satya, Treta, and Dwapar Yugas. But in Kali Yuga, the Lord appears disguised. He does not directly kill demons and give protection to be the faithful, because the Lord is not directly perceived in Kali Yuga, but is directly known in other 3 yugas. That is why his name is Tri Yuga. See, in the purport of this, which we are discussing this verse, Prabhupada says it is described in Vedic literature that in Kali Yuga, he comes as Channa Avatar, right? Or an incarnation. But he does not appear as a manifest incarnation. He comes and protects the people of this age in his covered incarnation as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya is covered because although he is Krishna himself, He presents himself as a devotee of Krishna and not directly Krishna. Therefore, the devotees pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to eliminate, as they said, Prabhupada said, the stock of, we have so much stock, how much baggage we might have from Janma after Janma, to eliminate the stock of passion and ignorance, which is very, Prabhupada's very, very useful, very nice word. He says, most conspicuous assets of this age, passion and ignorance. So in this Krishna consciousness movement, one cleanses himself of these modes of passion and ignorance. How? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare. As it is introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, in Bhagavatam 1:17-24, Prabhupada says, in the age of Satya, that is truthfulness, your 4 legs were established by the 4 principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that the 3 of your legs are broken. Why? Due to rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for women, and intoxication. So the preaching of Bhagavatam principles will automatically render everybody austere, clean, both inside and outside, merciful to the suffering, and truthful in daily behavior. So preaching of Bhagavatam is very, very important. So this is the way of correcting the flaws of human society, which are very prominently exhibited in this age, especially current moment, we can see everywhere. See, the principles of religion, they do not stand on some man-made formulas, but they stand on 4 primary regulative observance. That is austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. See, the mass of people must be taught to practice these principles right from childhood. Austerity means, Prabhupada says in the purport of 1:17-25, austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. What a beautiful statement. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting. Fasting twice or 4 times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only, and not for any other purposes, like political or otherwise. Fasting which are meant not for self-realization, but for some other purposes, are condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 17.5 and 6. Similarly, cleanliness is necessary both for the mind and for the body. See, simply bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanliness of the mind is necessary, and it is affected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. Cleanliness of the mind is necessary, and it is affected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. See, no one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. Cheto Darpana Marjan. So, godless civilization cannot cleanse the mind because it has no idea of Krishna. And for this simple reason, people under such a civilization cannot have good qualifications. However, they may be materially opulent. So we have to see things by the resultant action. See, the resultant action of human civilization in this age of Kali is dissatisfaction. So everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. And this peace of mind was complete in the Satyuga because of the existence of all the attributes of the human beings. Wonderful attributes, just now we discussed, right? They were truthful, honest, everything was there. See, gradually, these attributes have diminished in the Treta Yuga to 3/4, in the Dwapara to half, and the age of Kali to 1/4. And which is also gradually diminishing because of prevailing untruthfulness. See, by pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. So the revival of this Bhagavata Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to the evils of all these things. This is a wonderful purport of 1:17-38. It's a beautiful purport, and Prabhupada is giving a solution how we can correct these things in this Kali Yuga itself. He says, I'm just reading out from that purport, the state which wants to eradicate corruption by majority may introduce the principles of religion in the following manner. He gives 3 wonderful points he's given. He says, number 1, 2 compulsory fasting days in a month, if not more, that is austerity. So even from the economic point of view, such 2 fasting days in a month in the state will save tons of food. And the system will also act very favorably on the general health of the citizens. This is the first point. Then second, he says, there must be compulsory marriage of young boys and girls attaining 24 years of age and 16 years of age respectively. There is no harm in co-education in the schools and colleges, provided the boys and girls are duly married. And in case there is any intimate connection between a male and a female student, they should be married properly without illicit relation. He says the Divorce Act is encouraging prostitution, and this should be abolished. And the third point, he says, the citizens of the state must give in charity up to 50% of their income for the purpose of creating a spiritual atmosphere in the state or in human society, both individually and collectively. And he says they should preach the principles of Bhagavatam by 1, Karma Yoga, or doing everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. B, regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam from authorized persons or realized souls. C, chanting of the glories of the Lord congregationally at home or at places of worship. D, rendering all kinds of service to Bhagavatas engaged in preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. And E, residing in a place where the atmosphere is saturated with God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. He says, if the state is regulated by the above process, naturally there will be God consciousness everywhere. Gambling of all description, even speculative business for enterprise, is considered to be degrading. And when gambling is encouraged in the state, there is a complete disappearance of truthfulness. Rupa says, allowing young boys and girls to remain unmarried more than the ages recommended and licensing animal slaughterhouses of all description should at once be prohibited. And he also says, intoxicant of all description, even smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco, or drinking of tea must be prohibited. Very clearly, he has specified the solution by which we can have a peace of mind, a wonderful, very nice Satyuga. In Kali yourself, we can experience the Satyuga. See, in the current purport, again, Sridhara Swami describes, 3 yugas follow, as yuga means couple, 3 means 3. So the Lord has manifested 3 couples by 6 opulences, or 3 couples of opulences. So in that way, also he said he can be addressed as 3 yuga. See, in the purport of 3rd canto, 24th chapter, 26th verse, Prabhupada says, Lord Vishnu is called 3 yuga. He appears in 3 yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwapar. But in Kali Yuga, it does not appear, right? So from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, we can understand that he appears garbed as a devotee in Kali Yuga. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that devotee. Krishna appeared in the form of a devotee. But although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity. For the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee, right? So Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisance to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, therefore offered his obeisances. And he said, I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. And this is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, where he says, in Kali Yuga, he does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee. So Vishnu is therefore known as 3 Yuga. Another explanation of 3 Yuga is that he has 3 pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, and wisdom and dispassion. And according to Sridhar Swami, his 3 pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame and complete beauty, complete wisdom and complete renunciation. This is what he is talking about in that purport. So there are different interpretations of 3 Yuga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that 3 Yuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood this, that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. So Krishna taught everything for becoming Krishna consciousness. Krishna taught everything for becoming Krishna consciousness, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, Prabhupada says, we are so rascal, we could not understand Krishna. Therefore, Krishna came again. These rascals failed to understand me, And now I shall teach how to become a devotee of Krishna by my personal behavior. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his personal example. How a devotee should behave. That is shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should not think that because he's playing the part like that. No. See, just like somebody is giving a massage. See, Prabhupada in one of his lectures, he said, somebody is giving a massage to my body, but he's not giving properly. So immediately I take his hand and began to give massage. And I will tell him, do like this, right? That does not mean I am the massager or I am the servant of that person. Understood? Very nice example Prabhupada gives. So similarly, don't forget that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme personality of Lord Krishna. You are worshipping Radha Krishna, and there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deity also. But Prabhupada says there are some parties who protest why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deity should be placed along with Krishna. But they do not know Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. It is not different. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya is Krishna himself. It is confirmed by the Shastras. And it is said as Channa Kalau and Yad Baba. So in the Kali Yuga, directly it does not appear as the incarnation like Narasimhadev or Vamandev or Lord Ramchandra. But as devotee, he is the same incarnation, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Therefore, sometimes you are called as Three Yuga. So there are 4 yugas. Because in 3 yugas he appears distinctly, and the 4th yuga, the Kali Yuga, is devotee, therefore he is called Three Yuga. See, in the 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 52nd verse, Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu, Tretayam yajto makaihi, Dwapare paricharyaya, Kalo tadhari ketanat. Whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We should also understand there are 18 Puranas, right? Everybody knows. And it is divided, right? 6 Puranas are in mode of goodness, 6 in the mode of passion, and 6 in the mode of ignorance for different people. Just like in a best institution, there are different classes, different kinds of books for learning. So gradual process. Similarly, this Vedic culture is so nice. They don't give one class of literature to all. No. There are so many different literatures because there are so many varieties of people. So how can you convince all the class of people by one literature? That is not possible. So that's why, because different people have different mentalities. So you have to give them according to their understanding. See, when the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, they did not allow the Kumaras to see the Lord. They became angry and were about to curse them to suffer in the material world. So realizing their mistake, Jaya and Vijaya prayed to the sages to bless them to remember Krishna even when they have progressed downwards from Vaikuntha. So immediately, Krishna, along with goddess of fortune, appeared before them and personally sought forgiveness for the sages, for the misbehavior of the doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya. So because of this magnanimous and merciful nature, Krishna informed the sages that he will not hesitate to chop off his own hands if his conduct is hostile to the sages. So such is the potency of his love for his devotees, right? That's why the next coming verses, 24 and 25, the Kumaras, they pray, dear Lord, you never want the auspicious path to be destroyed, for you are the reservoir of all goodness. Just to benefit people in general, you destroy the evil element by your mighty potency. You are the proprietor of the 3 creations and the maintainer of the entire universe. Therefore, your potency is not reduced by your submissive behavior. Rather, by submission, you exhibit your transcendental pastimes. And they also say, oh Lord, whatever punishment you wish to award to these 2 innocent persons, or also to us, we shall accept without duplicity. We understand that we have cursed 2 faultless persons. See, this is the exalted position of the Lord. The Lord need not even come and appear before the Kumaras and the doorkeepers talk in such a submissive manner, correct? When he had personally not committed any kind of offense, right? That's why Kumaras very nicely stated, no, your potency is not reduced by your submissive behavior. Rather, by submission, you exhibit your transcendental pastimes. Also, the Lord is teaching us how we should not hesitate to be submissive in such situations. Usually, when someone is angry and agitated, if we also reciprocate in the same mood, the problem only multiplies in dimensions, right? So here we see that though there was disturbance between the doorkeepers and the sages, Krishna, by his kind words and submissive behavior, was able to bring a change in the minds of doorkeepers as well as the Kumaras. So both of them realized their own mistakes and were ready to accept the words of Krishna. And Prabhupada, in the 25th verse, purport, he says, he gives a very instructive message. It's very important for us to meditate and follow in our lives. What does he say? The Kumaras, they say, the sages, the 4 Kumaras now reject their cursing of the 2 doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, because they are now conscious that the persons who engage in service of the Lord cannot be at fault at any stage. It is said that anyone who has implicit faith in the service of the Lord, or who actually engages in the transcendental loving service, has all the good qualities of the demigods. Therefore, a devotee cannot be at fault. If sometimes it is found that he is in error by accident or by some temporary arrangement, that should not be taken very seriously. This is what Prabhupada says in the. So the cursing of Jaya and Vijaya, he is here, he is repentant. Now, the Kumaras are thinking in terms of their position in the modes of passion and ignorance. And they are prepared to accept any kind of punishment from the Lord. See, in general, when dealing with devotees, we should not try to find faults. In Bhagavad Gita also it is confirmed that the devotee who faithfully serves the Supreme Lord, even if found to commit a gross mistake, should be considered a sadhu or saintly person. So due to former habits, earlier habits will be there. He may commit something wrong because we are not perfect. We come from that situation. Now we have come to Krishna consciousness. So due to former habits, he may commit something wrong. But because he is engaged in the service of the Lord, the wrong should not be taken very seriously. This is what Prabhupada very wonderfully says. So due to our strong attachment with material modes, we somehow or the other fail to see or easily overlook our own faults. We fail to look at our faults because of material modes. But never miss out on finding faults of other devotees who are also engaged in the service of the Lord. So let us remember the golden words of Srila Prabhupada and the supreme behavior displayed by Krishna, and give up our fault-finding nature and realize the truth that Krishna has selected each one of us in his service. And even if someone is apparently committing some mistake, the Lord will definitely arrange a way to correct. So there is no need for us to have a permanent grudge against them and waste our time in meditating on others' faults. Rather, let us introspect our own faults and endeavor sincerely to intensify devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, the king quality is austerity. We have to be austere. And it's very easy to remember these 4 things: austerity, cleanliness, right? Merciful and truthfulness. My Guru Maharaj, he created a wonderful acronym for remembering this: austerity, cleanliness, merciful, and truthfulness. He said, there are 4 things, right? Austerity, cleanliness. So you take the first letter. A is austerity, and C is cleanliness. So he said, our AC is what? Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So you will never forget. You will just remember his initials. AC, austerity and cleanliness. And then M for mercy and T for truthfulness. So without AC Bhaktivedanta Swami, we are empty. Empty. EMPTY, empty, mercy and truthfulness. So we'll never forget these things. So this is how Maharaj says some tricks have got to be applied so that these 4 letters are ingrained in our mind. So what is ACMT? Austerity, cleanliness, mercy and truthfulness. So every second of our existence, we should examine whether we are austere or not, whether we are clean or not, or whether we are performing all the merciful activities, whether we are truthful in our behavior. So these things, if we daily examine ourselves, then one day we'll definitely be austere, we'll definitely be clean, we'll definitely be merciful, and definitely truthful. And again, Srila Prabhupada says, austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, the basic principles of religion, prepare the ground for the reception of advancement in spiritual knowledge. What a wonderful statement, no? He says, austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, the basic principles of religion, prepare the ground for the reception of, for receiving of advancement in spiritual knowledge. And this is not the end. See, don't commit a mistake. See, you cannot be satisfied. Like, I am clean completely. I am merciful also. Truthful also. I will rest now. Take rest. No, there is no rest in spiritual knowledge. The goal of existence is completely different. But this is the beginning now. And again, one of the lectures, Guru Maharaj said, we commit a mistake regarding 4 regulative principles also. We think, oh, I am following 3.5. I'm nearly there now. I can do 3.5. Prabhupada, Maharaj says, Prabhupada has given 4. F-O-U-R. So not less than that. You have to follow, and if you don't follow, you put yourself in difficulty. This is the thing to be understood. But what happens, we falsely believe that if we can follow 4 regulative principles, that is the end. But that is not the end. These 4 principles of religion is not the end. End is the devotional service. Bhakti api uttamam labhet. That is in Brahma Samhita, 5.59. Unless you have uttama bhakti, it is very difficult to pursue any other thing. And if you pursue any other thing, the goal of our existence is polluted. It gets polluted. That's why Prabhupada, in the current purpose of the verse which we are discussing, he says, in the age of Kali, these 3 requisites to spiritual culture are almost absent. So the Lord is so kind that in spite of Kali Yugas being devoid of these spiritual qualities, he comes and protects the people of this age in his governed incarnation as Lord Chaitanya. The 4 Kumaras were cognizant of their situation in the modes of passion and ignorance, because although in Vaikuntha, they wanted to curse devotees of the Lord. And since they were conscious of their own weakness, they prayed to the Lord, remove their still existing passion and ignorance. So the 3 transcendental qualifications, cleanliness, austerity, mercy, are the qualifications of twice born of the demigods. So those who are not situated in the quality of goodness cannot accept these principles of spiritual culture. Prabhupada says, for the Krishna conscious movement, there are 3 sinful activities which are prohibited: illicit sex, intoxication, eating anything other than prasada, food offered to Krishna. So these 3 prohibitions are based on the principles of austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. He says, devotees are merciful because they spare the poor animals. They are clean because they are free of contamination from unwanted foodstuff and unwanted habits. Austerity is represented by restricted sex life. So these principles indicated by the prayers of the 4 Kumaras should be followed by the devotees who are engaged in Krishna consciousness. See, in 1738, Prabhupada said the basic principles of religiosity, such as pride, prostitution, intoxication, and falsehood, counteract the 4 principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So the personality of Kali was given permission to live in 4 places, particularly mentioned by the king, Parikshit Maharaj, namely place of gambling, place of prostitution, the place of drinking, and the place of animal slaughter. See, there's a wonderful purport which gives something we can really understand. It's very useful to understand, in fact. See, this is 4th canto, 22nd chapter, verse number 46. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped with words Namo Brahmanya Devaya, which indicate that the Supreme Lord accepts Brahmanas as worshipable gods. Supreme Lord is worshipped by everyone. Yet, to teach others, he worships the Brahmanas. So everyone should follow the instructions of the Brahmanas, because their only business is to spread Shabda Brahma all over the world. So whenever there's a scarcity of Brahmanas to spread Vedic knowledge, what happens? Chaos throughout the human society. And since Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are direct servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they do not depend on others. In actuality, everything in the world belongs to the Brahmanas. And out of their humility, the Brahmanas accept charity from the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas. See, everything belongs to the Brahmanas, but the Kshatriya government and the mercantile people keep everything in custody like bankers. And whenever the Brahmanas need money, the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas should supply it. It is like a savings account with money, which the depositor can withdraw at his will. So the Brahmanas, being engaged in the service of the Lord, have very little time to handle the finances of the world. So therefore, the riches are kept by the Kshatriyas, who are to produce money upon the Brahmanas' demand. So actually, the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas do not live at others' cost. They live by spending their own money. Although it appears that they are collecting this money from others. What a statement by Prabhupada. See, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas have no right to give charity. For whatever they possess belongs to the Brahmanas. Therefore, charity should be given by the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas under the instructions of the Brahmanas. Unfortunately, at the present moment, there is a scarcity of Brahmanas. And since the so-called Kshatriyas and Vaishyas do not carry out the orders of Brahmanas, the world is in a chaotic condition. And in that verse also, Prabhupada says, that indicates that the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras eat only by virtue of the Brahmanas' mercy. He says, in other words, they should not eat anything which is forbidden by the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas and Vaishyas know what to eat. And by their personal example, they do not eat anything which is not offered to the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. They eat only prasada. That is the remnants of the food offered to the Lord. So the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras should eat only Krishna prasada, which is afforded them by the mercy of the Brahmanas. They cannot open slaughterhouses and eat meat. They cannot eat fish or eggs or drink liquor or earn money for the purpose without authorization. So in the present age, because society is not guided by Brahminical instructions, the whole population is only absorbed in sinful activities. So everyone is deservedly punished by the laws of nature. And this is the situation in this age of Kali. So what a sad state of affairs we are looking at, right? So what happens is people have been entrapped by this material glimmer, by skyscrapers, tall buildings, huge factories, political activities. So they're all entrapped, Although they cannot live. He knows that however the skyscraper I make, I will not be allowed to live here. I have to leave it and do not know where I'm going. Therefore, the solution is that we should not spoil our energy for having a skyscraper. We should employ our energy to elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness so that we can, after leaving the material body, we can enter that spiritual planet. This is the process. Prabhupada finally says, so Krishna consciousness is the necessity. Krishna consciousness is the necessity. It is not a religious formula or some spiritual recreation. No, it is the most important thing we should imbibe in our lives. So with this, I stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Tagore Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji, for giving this opportunity to glorify the Supreme Lord Krishna. Manchakal Putarubesi Krivas and Dubay, Patidanam Power. So if anybody has any questions or anything to share, with the takeaways which they can imbibe and put into practice in their daily lives. In fact, we learned a lot of wonderful lessons today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Danda Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Danda Pranam.
Prabhuji, wonderful class, Prabhuji today.
Thank you.
I couldn't understand, as you were saying, ACMT, regarding merciful activities, mercy actually, austerity, truthfulness, okay, but about the mercy, can you just elaborate a little bit, Prabhu, of the mercy?
Yes. Yeah, mercy basically is talking about this killing of animals. No? One of the major things. That is one of the slaughterhouses, all this being taken. Right. That's what he's telling, offer Bhoga to Krishna and take it. That is the main thing. But people are cutting, they're not offering, of course, definitely. There's slaughterhouses, killing animals and eating. So you should be merciful to them. They don't know how to talk They don't know how to. So this is one of the mercy. And of course, that is one major thing. Another thing is, we see the pure devotees of the Lord. So we are in this material world, running around here and there. We don't know what to do. Before we came to Krishna consciousness, everyone was okay. They were doing their duties, material duties. But at the end of the day, we are still we want money. See, for example, I'll take my own example. When I started working, maybe the initial salary I used to get was about 1,000 rupees, right? That time also we were living. But afterwards, maybe after 20 years, when you're graduate or postgraduate, professionally qualified, you get a salary of maybe 1 lakh per month or 2 lakhs per month. But still, it is not enough. Why? Because we are increased our standard of life. We are more, that means more sense gratification. We are struggling. We are struggling day in and day out for the whole life. We have been struggling. And somehow or the other, Krishna sends somebody like a pure devotee who comes into our lives and takes us by the hair to take to Krishna consciousness, chant Hare Krishna mantra, eat prasadam, right? Kirtan, offer bhoga, recite Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. From here, suddenly they come into your life because that is the mercy of the Lord and mercy of the spiritual masters. So this mercy, we can also see. Now, suddenly when we come to Krishna consciousness, for all those things which we have been doing, we were struggling, suffering, at least it has been minimized. So now we are far better than what each person can reflect themselves and introspect themselves and find out where we started and where we are now. That means that is because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord who sends a spiritual master in our lives. If not, Srila Prabhupada's books, just open the book of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada will talk to you. That is the mercy of the Lord. This is mercy, Prabhu. I hope I was able to.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. It's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
AC, without AC, there is everything is empty. That was sensational, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Correct, Mother. Without AC, Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, we are completely empty. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given so much. And it is also said no conditioned life, right? Already we are conditioned. We are adding that AC also, air condition. That is another, and more conditions. That's why it's even a city place like Bangalore, which was no need for even fans those times during the 70s or 60s and all. Now they need air condition also. That because we have conditioned ourselves more and more. Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu Mother, anything you want to share? Anything you want to take away? Any questions?
Prabhu, I have got one more question. Like,
Yes,
what is the
Prabhu.
basic parameter, Prabhu? Like, how should we know that yes, we are progressing in Krishna consciousness? What is the parameter? Like, how do we understand whether in this life we can go back home, back to Godhead, unless and until what is the parameter, Prabhu? Please, can help.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
It's a nice question, but what my Guru Maharaj used to say is, the moment you start thinking about am I progressing or all these things, then you fall down. First of all, you should not think, just do it. You know, there is I think one of the advertisement of, I think, which one is it? I know, Reebok or something. Just do it, right? That's all. So remittance means whatever Prabhupada has given. The 4 regulatory principles are there. Like first and foremost is getting up for Mangalarti. Definitely, you should never miss Mangalarti. Very, very important. This is the foundation of our spiritual progress. Even after a long, big festival, like Janmashtami festival and all, it goes late at night. Your real test of austerity is taken care of. You are really tested when you get up, if you can get up for Mangalarti the next day. Mangalarti is at 4:30, right? So maybe you go for the festival still late night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Winding up, so many things will happen. But the moment get up early in the morning, 3 o'clock, 3:30, and come for the Mangalarti, that is a real test. That is austerity. So the 4 principles of religion has to be followed strictly, Prabhu. That is one thing, getting up Mangalarti, then eating prasad, offering to Bhoga to Krishna, and eating Krishna prasad as for maximum to extent. Of course, people are working may sometimes, but it's to and following the Ekadashi. That's what, in one of the purpose I just read out, no, what Prabhupada said. fasting on Ekadashi, right? Cleanliness inside and outside. So these are very, very important things to be understood. And truthfulness, honesty. And more, whatever we learn, we share it with others, our neighbors, our friends, relatives within the house. May accept or may not accept. Doesn't matter. The seed is already sown. Someday it will come out. Some people immediately they will accept because the last Janma only they have started it. Some they will take some time. Ultimately, this time, of course, Prabhu, if you really want to go, Prabhupada has told, no, our main intent should be to go back to what this lifetime, because Kali Yuga is progressing. And we are already seeing the violence of so many horrible things. At least now we are able to sit and chant. As you see in the 12th canto, when the Kali Yuga is coming to the end, we may not be able to sit in our house or wherever to chant. We have to go into the caves, right? There will be no Brahmanas, nothing will be there. So horrible. So we are still fortunate. And this, I think the 10,000 years of this period is a golden period. So within this period, we should go back home. So this life means chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Best thing is if you are chanting 4 rounds, try to increase. Try to 6 rounds, 8 rounds. Whatever you're doing, right? So that you gain the taste. If you gain the taste of chanting by reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we hear the pastimes of Krishna Katha, you will slowly gain the taste for chanting. And we gain the taste, get the taste for chanting, automatically you'll get the taste for reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, which is mutual. Definitely you'll get it. Then chanting is the basic thing in Kali Yuga, nothing more. You will be diverted, you will be pulled back, something, so it is not. But since we have taken the shelter, the example I always give is, if by coming to Krishna consciousness doesn't mean that we don't have any problems. Problems will be there. For example, when the rains come, now in Bangalore it's very, very raining for the last 2 days, right? When rain comes, what do? You take the umbrella and go, right? But when you open the umbrella, does the rain stop? No, the rain is still falling. But it doesn't affect you because you have taken the umbrella, right? The same way, if you take to Krishna consciousness, that is, problems does not stop by that. It will come, it will still come. But because you have taken the shelter, the umbrella of Krishna, automatically the problems will not affect you. You will not be affected. You will be very peaceful and you can do that. But if you are affected means you have to increase your devotion service. You have to increase your chanting. You have to increase the reading. You increase the association of devotees. This is very important. Thank you, Prabhu. Hopefully, I was able to give some assistance to you.
Yeah, Prabhu, very helpful. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Prabhu, attending Mangalarti means should we go to the temple or can we do it at home itself?
No, Prabhu, not necessary. No. Of course, as far as possible, create a home in your house only you can do it. Make it simple. Don't complicate anything. If you don't have all the paraphernalia, not a problem. Just agarbati and doop also, that also can be done. But sending the samsara dava, if it's for all this, that's enough, Prabhu. Very simple.
Or shall we? Can I see online in the mobile itself doing Mangalarti in some other temple and
absolutely.
Because,
yes. Because supposing somebody you are driving in a train, how can you do Mangalarti? Correct. You can in your mind you can do it. In a train you cannot do anything, right? You cannot offer fire and anything, right? Don't complicate. This is remembrance of Krishna, 24 hours sitting. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandapranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks. Anybody else? Raji Krishna Prabhu. Sunita Mari. Dandapranam. Raji Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Balaji Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare
Krishna. Very beautiful. Very nice.
Thank you.
Citizens of state to have the regulations, that is very nice. Like 50% of the income has to be given as charity.
True.
And very nice. It is.
Thank you.
So those other yugas, these are all were happening, but now Kali Yuga is not happening. That's the reason we all suffering so much. It's very nice.
True. Thank you. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The same link holds for everyday discourse, please.
No, this is there. This is for the ISKCON Seshadripuram. Yes, every day, same link. Bhagavatam 8 to 9.
Same link.
Always...
I can use the same link. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your name, Mataji? Okay. Anybody else? Anything you want to share? Umaprata Mataji, Sunita Mataji, coming from Australia. Umaprata Mataji from Kerala. So different people, no? So it's Hari Bol. Thank you very
Very
much.
enlightening class, Prabhu. 3 Yuga, very nicely told, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
We should go to the recording again to write some more notes, Prabhu. Very enlightening. Thank you, Prabhu.
You can share me if you go to the link, there's Facebook, go to the Facebook. You will come to, you can straight away get the video recordings.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Umaprada Mataji. With all your, you told me you will be very busy in the morning, but still you were able to make it. So nice of you. Thank you very much. Hare
Yes, send the link everything so that I will try my best to join.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, your voice is not very clear.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes.
I could make it today. Please send the links when we are taking class so that I will try my best to join.
Sure, Mataji. Definitely. Thank you very much. So nice. Very happy to have the association. Wonderful devotees. Hare Krishna.
So very nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you. It's all my Maharaj Mercy Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Take care. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nirmal Mataji. Hare Krishna. Rajarshi Mataji. So if we stop here, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Don't promise. Take care and be safe. Have a wonderful day. Vancha kalpatarubi chikrapasam dubai vicha. Patidanam pavani vishnu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
3 दिन हो गया, अभी कभी खुलेगा इसको?